Good day everyone, my name is Shina Tamayo and our topic for today is the components of special and inclusive education. But we're only going to talk about the components of special education. But first, what is special education and why is it important? Special education is of great importance for children with learning disabilities because it gives them the opportunity to get quality education in line with their unique needs. Special education enables every student to gain a high level of independence and reach their full potential. In special education, we have 6 basic components. The first one is collaboration and communication. Norms and processes that allow for meaningful and productive interaction between special education programs and other programs as well as between schools and families. This special education collaboration with these older students is important because it can give them a chance to have some responsibility for their education and as well as their goals and actions. Collaborating and understanding special education students is also important when it comes to behavior. Number 2, we have staffing. Processes to monitor and address personal needs and strategic allocation of staff with defined roles and responsibilities. The staffing process is an opportunity to identify supports and procedures that help ensure a student's educational purposes. Parents or others may be included as determined by the uniqueness of the situation for the student. Number 3. Policy and procedures. The existence of up-to-date, documented, and accessible procedures that are compliant with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act or IDEA, along with a robust peripheral system such a multi-tiered system of support. Just like any other school, the special education school has also their own procedures and policy that they need to follow. Number 4 is data systems. Accurate and consistent data sources that are accessible and monitored at the student, classroom, and school levels. Data collection is very important when you are teaching because data collection helps you determine if your interventions or teaching methods are working. It will also highlight any changes that you need to be made. Number 5 is resource management. Budget planning and monitoring processes that ensure the resources for special education are strategically allocated and managed to meet state and federal guidelines and to serve students with disabilities. When it comes to education, resource management involves making a strategic plan for organizing and using school resources. Resource management involves evaluation and maximization of such resources. The last is instructional practices, professional learning opportunities, systems and processes for general and special education, teachers and other personnel, to support high-quality individualized education programs or IEPs and all students' access to the general education curriculum. Instructional strategies provide teachers with the flexibility necessary to meet individual learning needs. Instructional strategies can make teaching and learning fun. The majority of students learn best through active, engaging learning opportunities.
What is inclusive education? An education system that includes all students, welcomes and supports them to learn, whoever they are and whatever their abilities or requirements. This means making sure that teaching in the curriculum, school buildings, classrooms, transport, and toilets are appropriate for all children at all levels. Inclusive education means all children learn together in the same school. No one should be excluded. Every child has a right to inclusive education, including children with disabilities. Why is inclusive education important? It improves learning for all children, both those with and without disabilities. It promotes understanding and strengthens social integration. It ensures that children with disabilities are equipped to work and contribute economically and socially to their communities. Inclusive education is connected to children with disabilities realizing other rights. All human rights are interlinked. This includes the right to education. It is not possible to achieve an effective education unless other rights are realized. And if the right to education is fulfilled, it leads to the realization of other rights. It requires non-discrimination, best interest of the children, right of the children to be heard, protection from violence and abuse, opportunity for life within the community, support with mobility, access to healthcare, habilitation and rehabilitation. Inclusive education system. It involves transforming the whole education system for financing, administration, design, delivery, and monitoring of education, and the way schools are organized. It requires commitment and investment from education ministries. It takes time and money to change the system. Support for teachers and students. Teachers need training and guidance, and students need to be provided with services to overcome barriers to learning. Promotion of respect for diversity and inclusive learning. Action is needed to challenge negative attitudes and prejudice against children with disabilities. High expectation of all students. Teachers need to invest in and support all children. Safe and inclusive environment. Children cannot learn if they are frightened, either of teachers or bullying from other children. System to monitor progress. It is vital to measure whether the situation is improving, and if not, what further changes are needed. Requirements to make inclusive education happen. An end to discrimination. An end to excluding children with disabilities. Access to primary and secondary education with sufficient numbers of accessible and inclusive schools, including for children with disabilities, code increases and emergencies. Practical support or adoption for students to enable them to learn this called reasonable accommodation. Individual education plans for children with disabilities, setting out what accommodations and supports they need. Service for specific impairments such as sign language, classrooms, reorganization, and accessible learning materials. Teachers adequately trained to work inclusive education.